You can generate a lot more goodwill by essentially making the onboarding continuous.
Yeah.
And this is something that we are pushing for this mindset shift that onboarding never stops. You're just onboarding your users on more and more advanced features over time.
I really like that, because I always thought of it as so it happens during like the first few calls or the first few sessions, and you tell people what's up and all right, welcome, cool. I'll send you some helpful material along the way, but I don't think we always think of it as this continuous thing. So today on Spill the Marketing Beans, I am talking to Emilia Koczynska, Head of Marketing at UserPilot. Thank you for taking the time today. I know you've had a very tight schedule with a lot of things going on, Emilia.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Ishara.
I know that when you started your career, it was journalism first, and then you made a switch, obviously in between some stuff, and then marketing later. What was the turning point? Was it realizing, I'm really good at storytelling and that feels like a nice entry point to marketing, or how did that go?
Kind of. Well, I didn't realize I'm really good at storytelling, but I used to really love writing, and that's why I went into journalism. But then I didn't actually like it when I was working in a newsroom and all the stresses of editor's job, etc., etc. So I also had like a more analytical side to me. So then I went into research. Then I was like staying in academia a bit. But yeah, I was missing, the writing and the like practical part. So at some point I launched my own business. It was a translation agency. And then after a few years, I started getting clients who were looking to translate content into English and other languages. So, that's how I became familiar with content marketing. And I really got hooked on it. And at first I was doing some agency work in content marketing, and then I decided I really want to go deep and start working with startups on more one-on-one basis. So that's kind of how I got into marketing.
Nice. I think the work or the fact that you really like content marketing is very evident with what you do with even the content at UserPilot, as well as product runs, which I really like reading whenever you send out that email, which is also why I want to talk to you anyway, especially around product-led growth and how it ties into things like onboarding and stuff. So I thought we'd start talking a little bit about, product-led growth.
Sure.
Because I remember seeing someone's comment somewhere saying, you're talking about product-led growth like it's a huge or a new thing. Let's just chill. It's simply, offering freemium or a free trial. Is that really the case, or how do you view that?
No, I think that's like the biggest misconception around product-led growth. Free trial or freemium are just, one of the product-led acquisition channels, but product-led growth is basically growth that is generated, with the help of your product. So, that can include expansion revenue, that can include churn prevention, that can include reducing the customer acquisition costs by, say, improving the trial to paid conversion rates. So there are a lot of different ways how a SaaS company can, or any product company can drive product-led growth. So essentially, it's anything that starts with your product rather than, with the salespeople.
Yeah. So with that, Emilia, for a company that might be a little bit sales heavy and might not really have a product that they could maybe freely show, what sort of things they can do in order to get started with their own journey of product-led growth?
Ooh, I love that question, because I talk to a lot of companies like that say, we cater to the enterprise sector, we're really upmarket, we are sales-led, so we don't need any onboarding, we don't need any in-app experiences, we don't need any of that product-led growth, which is a huge, huge mistake, because these two basically models are not mutually exclusive. You can be sales-led and you can at the same time have product-led experiences and drive product-led growth. Right. And in fact, it has this flywheel effect. I believe that all the sales-led companies would actually benefit a lot from implementing product-led experiences inside their products. Because after all, okay, they close the sale, even like, let's say they don't decide to have a freemium model, that's fine. They even don't decide to have a free trial, that's also fine. Although I believe a free trial is something that helps any company immensely in converting, the prospects into customers. But I understand in some situations they may choose not to. Maybe it's very technically heavy to set up the product, or requires a lot of customer success to, set up and customize. So, they decided that the cost of a free trial would be actually too high for them. And I totally understand that. But then after they have actually closed the customer and the customer is still supposed to, handle the product on their own, unless you actually offer agency services and you're fine with that, but then you're not really a product business, you're a service business that has a product, right? Yeah. Then you should have some experiences that will guide the users, the customers through your product so they can use it independently, right? At the heart of every SaaS business, is the kind of self-serve aspect of it, right? It shouldn't be that your customers need to basically have calls with your AEs or then customer success manager every time they stumble upon some obstacle, right? There should be enough information, but contextual information that actually is in-app for your users to be able to use your product independently. There's nothing more frustrating than having to write to support on chat all the time. How do I use this tool? How do I proceed? What do I do next? Why is this not working? And myself, as a marketer, I use plenty of tools and I test new tools all the time for my team. And there is nothing more frustrating than these situations where we can't use the tool independently as a team because something is just not working as expected. And it's not a bug. It's not working by design because we just don't know how it works. And we can't know because we haven't been informed in any way in-app. And who has the time to go through help docs, right, to understand what's going on? And sometimes there are such small nuances that you wouldn't even know what to Google to find the right help doc. So the help needs to be there contextually. Otherwise, even, if I was closed by the sales department, even if I'm an enterprise customer, I get frustrated, right? And if these situations happen too often, I may start shopping around for a different solution, right? When my contract renews in a year, I may be ready to actually jump ship to someone who has a product that is more user-friendly. And especially with remote teams, this is super important. Like my team is spread literally across the globe. We have people in Canada, Vancouver, and we have people on the other end of the spectrum in Pakistan.
Right.
So imagine like how hard it is to coordinate like the whole team and how hard it is for them if they can't use the tool and have to wait 12 plus hours for the support agent to get back to them when they get stuck on something. So I constantly use this catchphrase, this conversation should have been a tooltip, right? Because sometimes I exchange like 5-10 emails with customer support agents just to find out that, oh, hey, this HubSpot integration is not working because you should have mapped 4 fields and you only mapped 2. I'm like, wow, like couldn't you have, planted a reactive tooltip there or a modal or something to say like, hey, you need to map these other 2 fields as well for this to work. But no, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. This is like a real life story. So this is kind of sorry for the long-winded answer, but I get a bit emotional about this. I I just feel, this is such a huge misconception. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you also touched a little bit on onboarding as well. And since you also referenced a little bit about in-app, message tools and using tooltips and things like that, if it is a company that is very sales heavy, or maybe trying to pivot to a whole hybrid model for like onboarding, for example, what else can they bring into the mix to get there?
Right. So essentially onboarding, again, and being sales-led are not mutually exclusive. And again, people have this misconception about onboarding, that onboarding equals a product tool, right? And if you have a more complex tool and you need someone to actually walk the new customer through your tool at the beginning, help them set it up, because it's very, like, as I said, tech heavy, then they don't need any in-app experiences, any in-app onboarding. And that's unfortunately not true, because as I mentioned, there are these situations which just require a little bit of explanation in real time, contextually, for your customers, even the onboarded ones, even the activated ones who are already like using the basic functionality of your tool in order to proceed and become actually more advanced users of your product. So essentially onboarding is what happens all the time, right? At the beginning, it may be more proactive and it may be more hybrid. So you combine in-app experiences, in-app communications that are automated or semi-automated with actually hand-holding the customer and showing them around manually if you have a more, difficult tool. But then over time, the customers expect less and less of the hand-holding and more of this reactive support, right, that actually responds to their activity in-app, right? So this distinction between proactive and onboarding support, where you're like actually taking the user by the hand and walking them through, be it automatically or manually, depending on your ACV, depending on the complexity of your product, and proactive support, which is like very contextual, it's very responsive, it's typically short messaging that points the user in the right direction or explains certain UX interactions that are not self-explanatory from the UI. And again, there is this common argument, we're working on getting the UX just right and it will be perfect then, and the users won't need any in-app comps. No, that's never going to happen in the real world, because some UX interactions happen like under the hood, right? So there are some backend events, your user has uploaded something, and for instance, it takes a while for, your database to generate a report. Like if they uploaded, a big file or something, or it takes time to process a subscribers list, right? The user doesn't know that it takes time. So you need some interaction with the user to tell them, okay, it's not a bug, you don't need to write to support, everything is fine, you will get the report in about 15 minutes. Right? So, and there are plenty of examples like that. So you can generate a lot more goodwill by essentially making the onboarding continuous. And this is something that we are pushing for this mindset shift, that onboarding never stops. You're just onboarding your users on more and more advanced features over time.
I really like that, because I always thought of it as so it happens during like the first few calls or the first few sessions, and you tell people what's up and all right, welcome, cool. I'll send you some helpful material along the way, but I don't think we always think of it as this continuous thing. So I know that tools like in-app messaging tools, for example, play a huge role in it. So for someone who is actually maybe swimming in a sea of, a lot of options, what sort of things should they be looking for when they're trying to pick the right one?
So ideally, they should be looking for a tool that gives them the most flexibility. So definitely a tool that allows them to respond to these in-app events. And so essentially user behavior, how the user interacts with their tool in real time, right? So that's something that a lot of onboarding or product adoption tools still don't have, right? So they allow you only to respond, to essentially show experiences based on user attributes, right? And user attributes, well, maybe they're not entirely static, right? Because they can change over time. For instance, when a user upgrades from the basic plan to a premium plan, right? That's a change in the user attribute. But essentially, user actions are a lot more dynamic. And this is what a good product manager should really respond to, right? So essentially, what plan you have, or I don't know, kind of what device type you're using. This is not as important as what you're actually doing with the product for onboarding to be successful, to be truly reactive and to truly support the user journey. So that's the first thing. Another thing, I would definitely look for a tool that is code free, right? Or very low code. And so that doesn't require you to like use CSS to style the in-app experiences to make them look native, for instance. That doesn't require you to know CSS to, for instance, select elements in your UI in order to append the in-app experiences to them. Same with, say, passing custom events. So say you need to kind of plan which events you're going to react to. Right, inside your app. So which user actions or interactions with your product you are going to react to. So say if the user clicks on these 3 buttons, right, you want to show them a certain message, right? So ideally a tool that allows you to tag elements on your front end, on your UI, right? With a UI selector, and then basically tag them as specific features or even a bunch of elements, and then, tag them as a custom event, right? This would be ideal, because then you can say, for instance, if you have a social media scheduling tool, the activation point, so the moment when the user realizes the value of the tool, is when they add a few social media accounts, and when they write the first post, and when they actually schedule the first post. So these are free in-app events. So a tool that allows you to, again, tag these custom events on your front end without like passing them as, a script is going to be helpful, because then you can give this tool to your product managers or even product marketing managers, all right, like yourself. So they can use it without having to go back and forth with your developers.
Nice, that's well thought out. On the whole topic of onboarding again, Emilia, I was just wondering, how can you use that? I mean, of course, we're thinking it as a continuous process. How can I use onboarding to make the product more stickier in the eyes of, my user or the customer?
Yeah, that's a good question. So after the initial onboarding, which can happen, even with the assistance of a CSM, you should push your users to explore more of the secondary features, especially the sticky features. So ideally, in the perfect world, you should set out to create a product adoption strategy, which means at which stages in the user journey should the user explore and adopt which features of your product, right? And obviously the most money-making features, the most sticky features should, kind of come, maybe not first, right? But you should definitely plan how you're going to push your users to adopt them, especially. And this is something that a lot of companies, especially the so-called sales-led companies, are neglecting, right? They are showing their users the basic features they need to use their product, the core functionality, but maybe there are some more features that would actually bring the user more value and make the product more sticky. So for instance, at UserPilot, we built a resource center, which is a pretty sticky feature, because this is where all your, help docs live. This is where your all your educational and onboarding resources, be it in-app experiences or external, knowledge-based articles or help docs, can live. So once you create a resource center like that and you upload a lot of documents there, or you put some videos in there, your users are searching for them, with the right keywords, and that helps you reduce your support ticket volume as well. You're very unlikely to move, right? Because you've put in all this effort into creating this help center. And then you're kind of, oh, why bother, right?
Yeah.
So we definitely push our users to explore the resource center. But this is not the first feature we show them, because this is like a secondary feature.
Yeah.
So we don't want to overwhelm them. We don't want it to be the first, thing they see, because they came for something else. They came to build enough experiences for user onboarding, right? Not to build a help center. At the same time, this is an important money-making feature because it's very sticky.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a nutshell, I would bake, feature adoption of these sticky features into the product adoption strategy.
Nice. Okay. I really like the points you mentioned about making sure that you don't overwhelm the user, help them do what they have to, and then put other things at the right time. And I know with your experience, Emilia, you're probably the best person to ask this question. I mean, if you are able to share, what are the pretty decent examples you've seen of customer onboarding and maybe not so great ones, just for us to have, an idea and learning of, what's good and what's probably to stay away from.
Sure. So I love the onboarding of Slack. I think it's very contextual, very reactive. So they make a good use of empty states, right? So they fill the empty states with certain predefined templates for you to sort of understand how you can use Slack to interact with your teammates. And then they also use these reactive in-app experiences, especially when they launch new features or they change something about the UX. You will always know they also use good micro copy. So the in-app experiences are actually entertaining. They use a language that I feel like I speak. Yeah. It's written by humans for humans. Sometimes you see the micro copy in certain tools and you wonder who wrote this. Right. So this is definitely a positive example because it utilizes a lot of these best practices for user onboarding, and they definitely do it continuously. So even though I've been using Slack for years now, I still get these reactive experiences to push me to explore more. On the flip side, some tools that I'm using, they either don't have any onboarding experiences at all, right? Which is very, very sad. Like a tool that I'm using, Apollo, our whole team is using it for essentially outreach purposes. It's a great tool with great value for money, but they literally don't have any of these reactive onboarding experiences, especially at the later stages. And it's very difficult to use it then because of it. This was where I took the example of the HubSpot integration from. Actually, that's one of the real problems that we had there. And we constantly have to message back and forth with the customer success. And most of the time is this this should have been a tooltip situation. Sometimes the customer success people don't even know the answers. So they have to escalate it to product managers, who then record as a micro video, 6-7 minute video how to do this. And I'm like, why didn't you put it in app? Why didn't you put this video there for everyone? I bet you're getting this question over and over. Yeah. So that's a negative example. Another negative example that I can. So one end of the spectrum is no onboarding at all. Another end of the spectrum is when your onboarding is just really, really bad. Yeah. So one tool that I used has created the longest product tool I've ever seen. It was 11 steps.
Oh dear.
You couldn't skip it. And it included 5-minute long videos in the tooltips. So altogether, it would have taken you an hour to complete the product tour. Who has time for that? And would you even remember the first step, right? They were just basically trying to show everything their tool can do for the new user, which is absolute, it's not the right way to go about it at all, because your attention span, and your working memory just doesn't allow you to, process so much information at once. So good onboarding definitely needs to be reactive even at this stage, right? So you complete the first step, okay, you've done it yourself, then we move on to the second step. But 11 steps at a time,
That is.
No way.
I suppose maybe at some point they realize, let's make sure that people know everything we've got.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you have to do that incrementally. Like you said, Emilia, I suppose onboarding is continuous. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Emilia, for taking the time today. It was very helpful for me, and I know it'll be helpful for everyone who is checking the episode as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ishara. It was great chatting with you.
Take care.